Hello friends, today I will talk about the most sugary case that I hear from the user that I consider to be the sickest on the internet. Much worse than Lux. Personally looking for the information in this case gave me a hit, and I had to censor many things. The story of Peter Gerard Scully. Peter Gerard Scully was born in 1964 in Melbourne, Australia. He became a successful businessman, but he defrauded more than $2,680,000 from 20 different investors. Since 2009 he began to be investigated by the Australian Securities and Investments Commission. He knew that staying in his native country was a risk, so he decided to file for bankruptcy and escape. The father of 2 children left Melbourne after being charged with 117 fraud offences. He returned to Australia in 2011, accompanied by a Malaysian teenager named Ling, who was believed to be his girlfriend before he turned her into a prostitute, offering his services to his friends and former associates. As the problems continued, that same year he moved to the Philippines to escape the law. There began his fondness for having sex with girls and his taste for filming these encounters. The Philippines had become the point of access to child pornography, to be sent over the internet to countries such as the United States, Great Britain and Australia. Scully settled in Malay, Kidnan. Scully started a lucrative business for selling child pornography, which she soon completed with snuff videos through a streaming system. A girl named Carmen Alvarez met Scully at the age of 14 while working as a prostitute. She was abused and raped, but Scully ended up making her an accomplice. Carmen was paid to attract girls to Scully's house. After hooking them on the street, she took them out to eat and then led them to the pedophile's home. Sometimes the same parents gave their daughters to them, because she promised that she would give them an education and a good life if they gave them to them. She also liked to participate in the videos, sexually abusing the little ones. In 2012, the family of a 13-year-old girl agreed to have him do housework at Scully's home. But in reality she was forced to perform sexual acts with other girls. They told me they had to take pictures of me naked because there was an American who really wanted to see me like this and would pay a large amount. She ran away from Scully's house after she was informed that she had been sold to a German who was going to pick her up. 2 girls, one named Daisy and her 11 and 10-year-old cousin Queenie, were hungry and wandering near a shopping center in the city of Cagayan de Oro in Mindanao. They were kidnapped and experienced 5 days of torture and rape. First, Alvarez stripped and bathed them on the American, as Scully was called, recording them. Alvarez touched and caressed them, forced them to do oral sex and did it to them. She also forced them to have sexual practices with each other. She penetrated them with her fingers. Then Scully raped them. They were also flogged and forced to drink alcohol until they got drunk. Daisy cried and screamed so much that Alvarez covered her head with a pillow. The girl felt like she was suffocating. Scully continued to rape her. "I wanted to kill myself. I wanted to die that night because I couldn't take it anymore," the girl would say. Then she forced them to dig 2 graves inside the house. She planned to bury them in them. Meanwhile, she had rough sex with them and filmed the encounters. Queenie feared being killed in a recording session, as these were violent and painful. One morning, she woke up inside the grave. She had passed out and they threw her there, thinking of burying her. The 2 girls took advantage of an exit from their torturers and managed to escape. In another video, Scully forced a 13-year-old girl to torture an 18-month-old baby and a 2-year-old boy, after having sex with both of them. He also forced the little girl to dig her own grave, before beating her to death and burying her body. A masked woman featured in the video was Lizelle Margalo, a former Scully lover and sexually obsessed. In search of new victims, Lizelle Margalo visited a woman named Ava Abbott in 2012, offering to adopt her 5-year-old niece, Barbie, whose mother had just died. Abbott would say later, "I gave them to Barbie because Lizelle assured me that they would take care of her and love her as if they were theirs and they would send her to school." Around 2013, we lost contact with her. Her phone number and address had been changed, and she was not calling. I knew something was wrong. She did not even imagine what would happen to the girl. Scully produced and filmed one of the most famous child abuse videos on the web, Daisy's Destruction. The video, starring Carmen Alvarez, Lizelle Margalo and Scully himself, documents. Scully produced and filmed one of the most famous child abuse videos on the web, Daisy's Destruction. The video, starring Carmen Alvarez, Lizelle Margalo and Scully himself, documents the literal destruction of Barbie, the 5-year-old girl, whom the assassins renamed Daisy in memory of the girl who escaped, as they considered so the video would be more successful. In short, the video tortured the little girl by Carmen Alvarez, Lizelle Margalo, then Scully arrives who rapes her. The cry of the poor little girl at that time is heartbreaking. They continue torturing her, to finally burn her alive and shoot her. Australian Federal Police and Dutch police helped Philippine police investigate Scully after investigators from the Netherlands discovered her videos on the internet. In September 2014, police officers arrived at the home. Scully had fled. In November, the police arrived at a house that Scully and Alvarez rented. They found two girls chained of hands and feet, but they did not find them. There were also the remains of a 10-year-old girl, buried in a well, killed during one of the recordings. On February 20, 2015, Philippine police arrested Scully on suspicion of child sexual abuse, murder, and kidnapping against 11 children. At the time of her arrest, all the things she had done were not known. It was thanks to the investigation of the agent Janet Francisco, which managed to disintegrate the entire child pornography distribution network. The video seized by the police recorded all kinds of child sexual abuse, but the recording that became famous on the deep internet stood out and was long considered a legend. Daisy's destruction. Scully narrated in detail, the story of the video. Scully was part of an organization called NLF, No Limits Fun, which filmed videos of child pornography and snuff movies to market them through the deep internet. Scully performed sexual acts according to the instructions and fantasies of his clients, declared the regional director of the National Police Office of Investigations, NBI. Mergela was arrested soon after. She was captured at the national airport, on her way to the kidney from Pelham to see Scully, having just spent her honeymoon with her French national husband. Mergela admitted to taking several girls to live with her and Scully to torture, rape, and kill them. She also agreed to participate in the Daisy's destruction video. Zara Nkoy, the head of the NBI's anti-human trafficking division, said Scully lured the girls into her home and earned their trust, including making false promises to send them to school and feed them. Scully found out that what she was doing was a lucrative business, and she had clients all over Europe. There is systematic torture of children to death. A video of a girl being forced to perform oral sex on an older woman who speaks in the Visayan dialect directed the Dutch police here. Clients pay between $100 and $10,000 for the videos, some of which were described as the most shocking viewed by Philippine police officers. One of them shows torture and sexual abuse of a 1-year-old baby, who was raped anally and then beaten to death. On Daisy's destruction, the police chief said, "The video shows how Daisy gasps for air after the woman hits her most private parts on the girl's face, which was hanging upside down. Daisy's small, frail body convulses every time they whip her with a thin belt and drop hot wax from a melted candle into her private parts. It is the worst video we have found in our years of campaigning against child pornography." Carmen Alvarez was imprisoned in the Cagayan de Oro prison, in the south of the country. In an interview with the 60-Minute Show, Scully said she hardly ever had a need to find girls to abuse them. She said she was sorry and was awaiting our sentence. She also assured, "I still cannot feel remorse for what I have done. The reasons for my actions could only be explained by a psychiatrist. I don't want to talk about any of that though. There are different degrees of remorse when you finally realize what you have done." He is, in every sense of the word, a predator, said reporter Tara Brown, who interviewed him in jail. "We went inside the House of Horrors, straight into the heart of darkness, to understand exactly why it was so important that he be detained," he said. Public opinion demanded life imprisonment and even the death penalty for him, although the latter was abolished in that country since 2006. So far, today's video, personally this is the most disgusting case on the entire internet. If the case of Lux gave repulsion, it makes you feel bad, and making this video gave me a terrible hit. This human's gun, but we're good that he was discovered and now he will spend his whole life in jail. Also, the now president of the Philippines wants to restore the death penalty for this class of people.